Hey everybody, Dominic Marconi here, Executive Director of the Oregon chapter of the Pacific Northwest section. I'm here with Trey Harbick, who's Assistant Golf Professional at Eugene Country Club. Trey, thanks for joining us today.
Hey Dom, thanks for having me. What an honor. I wish I'm jealous of the other PGA pros who have been able to do this with you in person, but given the circumstances, this is just as good.
Yeah, this has worked out well for us, considering. So Trey, what was it for you that made you want to become a PGA golf professional?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good question. I lived right across the street from OPGA Golf Club my entire life. And so I pretty much grew up on that golf course and I became obsessed with it. I became obsessed with the sport, everything about golf. And, it was pretty cool. From when I was 15 years old, I knew that I wanted to be in the golf industry. And I didn't know what that looked like, but I wanted to do something where I was on a golf course all day long. And so right out of high school, I was able to start my first job there at OPGA Golf Club under Dan King and learned a lot from him. And as I went through college, I still knew I wanted to become a head golf pro one day. I never decided that I was going to choose a different career path. So I've had my mind set in stone on becoming a PGA golf pro one day, and I'm still on that track. And so it first started out as a love of the game. It still is I'm still obsessed with the game. And that's what really led me down of becoming a PGA golf pro.
That's an awesome story. And a lot of people get into this business because they love to play or they love just being around it. And it sounds like that was the case for you.
Yeah, it was. And as I've been in the industry now, it did start because I love the game, but now I've also, the relationships that I've been able to build with golfers, customers, members. I mean, I've built some lifelong relationships, and I could not ask for anything more in a career path.
That's great. So why don't you tell us about what player development program you're most proud of right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So coming from OPGA Golf Club, there's a small community, and we did a really cool junior golf program there. And, when we had 10 to 15 kids, that was really big. When I got to Eugene Country Club, we had over 50 kids that we were doing golf lessons with, and we did PGA Junior League my first year ever when I first started there, and it was incredible to see what they did there at Eugene. And so given the year of 2020, it's been really difficult to still do the PGA Junior League and do junior golf with families right now during COVID, but I'm really proud of the way we've been able to do our junior league. We didn't do PGA Junior League this year, but we've still done a ton of in-house junior golf programs, all while maintaining a six foot distance and being safe. And I'm really proud of how we've been able to handle that and still give good quality golf lessons for the kids, so that when they are growing up and going into high school, they're still going to be well educated and mentored going into that high school golf season. So it's really special.
Yeah, good, nice work. Trey, if there's one piece of advice that you can give a new up and coming associate into this business, what would it be?
Yeah. So I would first say, make sure you love the game of golf and don't ever lose that passion right there. I think that drives you and keeps you wanting to go back to work every day, because it's an exciting job. We get to go to a work where we love to be there. But it doesn't just come with the benefits of golfing and all that too. You really got to love people. And I think that's that I love about it the most. So it's simple. If you love the game of golf and you love people, then the rest is easy. The rest will fall into place.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So Trey, why don't you take us back to September 7th, Labor Day. That was the day the fire started up in Blue River. And you told me that that's where you were born and raised and grew up there. So why don't you take us back to that day?
Yeah, Dom. I tell you what, September 7th, that was definitely probably the worst night I've ever experienced. Me and my dad and my two uncles were actually already on our way to a golf tournament in Medford. And so we had left before, there was ever a fire. And what a helpless and hopeless feeling when we got the call from my mom that a fire had just started about 200 yards away from our restaurant, Dakota's, and our house. And it was a horrible phone call that we got, and we didn't know the magnitude of what it would do. No one ever thought in a million years the magnitude of the destruction that that fire could do. But after, they had evacuated and everyone was out safely, the next day, we just wanted to help. And we didn't know what that looked like, but we had found out that our restaurant, Dakota's, was spared. It had just started a couple hundred yards before that. And so everyone was evacuated. The whole town was gone. And we got in contact with the fire chief, Christiana Rainbow Clues, and we contacted her and said, we want to help. We know our restaurant's been spared. There's a lot of food in that restaurant. It's going to go bad. If you can get us through the roadblocks, we've got a small team prepared to come in there and do whatever we have to do. We will do whatever. And that's exactly what we did, Dom. My dad got a small team, and we went to Dakota's, and we served breakfast, lunch, and dinner to over 140 firefighters and emergency personnel for over 21 days. And I tell you what, in the midst of the worst natural disaster that has ever came through the McKenzie Valley, to be a small help and a part of that was probably the most rewarding thing that I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, I bet. I can only imagine what that must have felt like, getting that phone call from your mom that day. And I know I saw you and your family on the tee at Eagle Point, and I know you guys were extremely worried about it and thought you may have to leave, but you knew that there was probably no way you'd be able to get back in at that time.
That's right. Yeah.
So have you been back up there since?
I have, Dom, and it doesn't get much easier, and so many houses and friends that I know have all been destroyed. But the rebuilding process is definitely happening, and I tell you what, it's really cool to see our community, and then outside of our community, Springfield, Eugene, everywhere. They're getting so much support, and it is really special to see that happening.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking a few minutes there to share that story with everybody. I think that's it's important to know kind of where you grew up. It's important to know that you were able to give back with your family at Dakota's and serving all those firefighters. I did see pictures that Dan King must have posted at Tokatee with all the firefighters in their tents, out there on the golf course, and that was impressive as well. Well, I mean, there's certainly, we were supposed to have a pro-am out at Tokatee a couple weeks later, and obviously the time was not now for us to be out there. But we do look forward to getting back out there. We hope that everybody has an opportunity to get back up and not only support Tokatee, but to support the town of Blue River and dine in the restaurant that supported so many while the fires were going on.
I think you said it best, Dom. I think since this is a golfing outlet, I would share that, the highway now is now open. And I think that's great. It's for people who can get to their homes that was spared, and for people whose house is lost, they can get up there and they can get closure and they can start the process. Number two, power's been restored to the McKenzie Valley. Not everyone has power, but most do. And so the third thing is, now that there's power and the highway's open, those local businesses are open. Like you said, Tokatee is now open again. And, my family's restaurant, Dakota's, and the local grocery stores, they're all open. And so I would encourage golf pros to grab a foursome, head up to Tokatee before they close for the winter, and drive through Blue River. And it's one thing to see it on pictures and social media and on the news, but to see it in person, I think it just gives you such a good perspective on what we have and how we can really appreciate what we have, because Tokatee was a wind shift away from not being there anymore. And so if you could get up there and you hit your first tee shot, I mean, it's special. And then to drive home, see it, but then go to where you live, I have a whole new perspective, because it was a fluke thing, and it was devastating, and no one knew that was going to happen that night. So
yeah.
Thank you to Eugene Country Club and the whole membership there. They were so supportive of me taking some time away from the country club to be up there with my family. And I think that starts from the top. Our GM, Rich Sperlin, and head golf professional Bill Morrow for allowing me to be up there, two pillars in the golf community. And I think that's what makes Eugene so great. Along with the membership, they had donated a trailer full of supplies that I was able to go up, and pick up from Eugene Country Club and bring back up to the Mackenzie River Community Center and drop off for the victims of the fires. So to be able to do that, it just speaks volumes about our country club, and I am so thankful and honored to be working for them.
Well, again, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate you being this month's Spotcast, and appreciate you taking the time, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Dom. I appreciate it. What an honor. Thank you.
Absolutely.